Hello, I'm Inara Scott, and I'm the editor of Sustainable Capitalism, the essential work for the Anthropocene. And I'm here with Dan Cahoy, who wrote a chapter for the book about a techno-optimist case for capitalism. So, Dan, can you tell us a little bit about your chapter and also introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Inara. It's been wonderful being part of this book project, and the final product is amazing. And I'm glad to have had the opportunity to contribute a chapter. So yeah, I'm a professor of business law at Penn State, and a department head in a department called risk management. So in risk management, we think a lot about the consequences of things like climate change and scarce water resources and the need for access to medicines, things like that present risks to both corporations and society. So I care a lot about those topics. I'm also a patent lawyer, so I care a lot about technology and the possibility that technology can improve our lives. And that's one of the reasons why I was inspired to write this particular focus for your book. So I believe in sustainability research. I used to be the research director for our Center for the Business of Sustainability here at Penn State. So I've seen a lot of great research on sustainability. I think there are a lot of important questions we have to address as a society, certainly, for firms operating in society. So I think it's an essential question for capitalism. And the chapter I wrote was really kind of looking at the extent to which technology can help us solve our sustainability problems. And so, just to give you kind of quick rundown of what techno-optimism is and why I was exploring it. So, I guess I consider myself a techno-optimist, in part because of my science background and background as a patent lawyer, and the idea that new inventions might actually provide a path to the future. So techno-optimism is this idea that we can use science and engineering and technology deployment to help address problems. I don't think techno-optimism requires that you be Pollyannish about the possibility that technology will solve our problems. And so, one way you could look at it is we don't have to worry about the world because technology will eventually save us. So do whatever we can, pollute in whatever way we want to pollute, use whatever resources, and eventually we'll figure it out, or maybe some future generation will figure it out before they become ashes. Well, hopefully that's not the case, and I don't subscribe to that, but. Techno-optimism is, I guess, the way I look at it is, in contrast to what you might call, and I guess what I term in the chapter, eco-pessimism, sort of the purely conservative reductionist mindset where what we should do is conserve our resources and not use. Now, I think in the end, both of those are actually important points of view. So my chapter is not about saying don't conserve, don't reduce, don't reuse, don't recycle, just imagine technology will save us. It's actually a combination of both. But I wanted to explore how techno-optimism fits with that mindset. One other thing I'll kind of make is sort of a preliminary point. I don't think techno-optimism is a political point of view. And so that's been called into a little bit of question because there are some commentators such as Mark Andreessen who became kind of, well, he's well known for a number of things, but also recently he published something called the Techno-Optimist Manifesto, I believe. Anytime you have the word manifesto next to something you wrote, you're probably going to raise some eyebrows. But he has kind of an extreme view of techno-optimism. But he actually makes some good points in the essay as well. But he, I think, has become known as a little more on the conservative side. I will say, though, that on the more left side of the political spectrum, there's kind of an abundance notion that has been embraced by people like Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson have this really great book called Abundance. It's a really interesting book. And if you read the beginning of what they imagine our future could be if the right kind of government resources were in place, it's techno-optimist. So, I mean, I think it could be actually embraced by both sides. So that's what I wanted to explore in my chapter, is just sort of the nature of techno-optimism, my belief that it's connected to capitalism, because I think technology development that has actually showed itself to be actually deployable, actually something embraced by the public, something that actually becomes world changing, usually has to coincide with a capitalist system, at least. That's kind of the way I see it, and the way I tried to make the case in the chapter. And then what I did at the end of my chapter is sort of tested the effectiveness of techno-optimism in the context of different kinds of sustainability problems. So whether that be climate change, whether that be access to medicines, water resources, food, right? So different contexts. And I actually came up with some, different conclusions about whether a pure techno-optimist idea is actually likely to solve problems in the future, or to what extent we really kind of need to, share the stage with maybe more of an eco-pessimist or conservation mindset, I guess.
Right. And so I love when when I'm talking to somebody and they kind of give us a little bit of a cliffhanger, right? So
Mm,
you got to read the
mhm.
chapter to find out a little bit more. But if you could point to one just really important takeaway that you'd like readers or students who are reading the chapter to walk away with after reading your chapter, what would that be?
I would say that it can't be all of one and none of the other. It can't be a fully techno-optimist mindset. We can't put off all of our problems for the future on the belief that we'll invent our way around it. But I think inventing our way forward is actually an important option. It has to be embraced. So if we don't think that technology, if we don't embrace technology, we don't support it, both in terms of capitalism, government, and a regulatory system that provides a fundamental grounding for technology development and commercialization, we're unlikely to get to a more sustainable future and may fall behind for many years before we, come back.
Great. Well, I think we can leave it on that note. So thank you very much, Dan, and we appreciate it and look forward to everybody reading your chapter.
Great. Well, thanks, Inara. It was great to have the opportunity and good to see you.
Okay, bye-bye.